Okay, hello everyone, it's me again. Hope y'all are doing well. Today I want to make this video to basically share my thoughts about Path of Exile 3.23 Affliction, and I want to also do some quick analysis of the patch notes from an SSF perspective, because I only play SSF and that's what my channel is about. And it seems pretty cool. Seems like it's going to be a pretty good league. I guess in this video, I'm going to talk about like a general overview and then like a SSF meta observations section. Then I'll go over my starter, which, spoiler, is Boneshatter Jugg. Pretty self-explanatory, but I'll explain why later. And then I'll go over the good things in the patch and the bad things in the patch as well. So without further ado, let's just get started. Path of Exile Affliction. This is a new league. Seems pretty straightforward. You basically are in a zone like this, and you travel around, and you kill stuff, and you get wisps, and the wisps explode when you've collected enough, and then they inhabit monsters. There's like a really nice animation when you leave the area as well. So you do this area, you collect wisps. Seems like melee or like anything that's like close quarters combat friendly is favored, because like the monsters will just like jump you in this. So maybe like a small thing. Yay, rainbow explosion. Wait, I want to watch it again. Yay. Dude, that's gonna be like the most satisfying effect ever. Anyway, I should probably talk about Path of Exile stuff. Okay. So yeah, you basically go into the zone, you collect wisps. The wisps go out and inhabit monsters, which grant increased loot, which is basically kind of like how Sentinel worked, except you don't have to micromanage the Sentinels anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if they like reused some of the code in Sentinel League to make this. But it's pretty cool. Should make mapping pretty fun. And I also like that it's an in-map mechanic. And then the league we also get new ascendancy classes, which is cool. Some of these are pretty cool. This one is about like tinctures, which is like a oil that you can apply to your weapon. It kind of reminds me of like oils in Witcher 3. You just like put that shit on your weapon, and then it gives you a special bonus. Seems like this only works on attack builds right now, but I'm not totally sure. It says that you can right click to apply to your weapons, but it also doesn't specify that it has to be an attack hit, because this is like hits inflict forward. So this might work with spells, I don't know. We'll find out. The way that it's worded makes me think that you can apply it to like wands for like spell builds, but it's unclear. And yeah, this ascendancy seems pretty cool. And then there's also this node Oath of the Magi, which seems pretty good for leveling, but I don't know how good it'll be in the end game. And then there's bark skin thing, which gives you armor and evasion, but we don't have any numbers yet, so that's whatever. And then this ascendancy is basically about getting these oils that you can apply to your weapons for bonuses, and then flask effect as well. And like flask skin charges as well. It's pretty cool. And then this one's kind of neat as well. You get some weird curses that I haven't found a use for. Then there is this node, which is really cool, which allows you to go like a blood magic archetype with like a lot of increased life preservation efficiency. So you basically use like Eternal Blessing and then get a free aura and the mana. And then you can reserve like Petrified Blood and then like a lot of auras in your life, and then just go for some low life archetype. And there's this node, which is cool. It allows you to like build armor ES, but like have it be converted to life. It's kind of interesting. And then this one is kind of neat as well. If you can like make your spells cost a lot of life, you can gain a lot of added damage. But it's a bit weird because it's added fizz. So like the only spells I can think of that would work with this is like Blade Fall, Blade Blast, or like Wave of Conviction, Ignite, EK, Ignite, because you probably don't want to be casting too fast, otherwise it's diminishing returns. So yeah, I haven't been able to think of any build that can use this, but seems cool, and I'd love to play a build that does use this Ascendancy. It's basically it. Oh, and then this is also the one where you can like buy a Spectre and like consume it to gain extra damage against that type. So you can like consume an Eldritch one to get increased damage against like Pinnacle bosses, which is cool. And then you have the third one, which is like the custom socket one. And this one I basically interpreted this as like, you get 3 Sanctified Relics. And as you know, Sanctified Relics, some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some of them are like insane though, like this one. This allows you to get the entire Occultist Ascendancy on like 1 socket, and then you have like 2 more. So this could be good as well. And then new uniques, and then Ultimatum's back, which is cool. And then alt quality gems and lab enchants have been removed and combined into one transfigured gem system. Like this. And then, yeah, new supporter pack looks okay. Alright, since I'm already talking about this, may as well move on to what is the good stuff in this patch. Ultimatum is back, which is good. It's an in-map mechanic that's pretty fun to farm loot. And I think the presence of this will mean that builds that have strong defense and offense and /or have an explode mechanic are going to be, favored or desirable in this patch. And there's also like a new Atlas node which allows you to like go up to wave 13. So if you have a really good build, you can probably get some pretty sick stuff from this. Then Metamorph is removed, which is kind of funny. I actually kind of liked Metamorph, but it was also pretty poorly balanced, so I don't know. And the other final good thing I think is the 3 new Ascendancies are really cool. I am excited to try out all these and see like what I can do with them, which is cool. However, this patch also has a couple of bad things. Most notably that Transfigured Gems, which is like the huge quote-unquote meta shakeup, is like locked behind lab, which is kind of annoying because you can only get these things like you can only get the Transfigured Gems by running a lab, which is kind of cringe because no one wants to be doing lab. Like I want to be doing the Wildwood mechanic and stuff. And then also there was this patch note, Labyrinth rewards, which says that Labyrinth rewards can no longer be obtained from other league content. So like this is still kind of vague, and like I don't know if offerings count as like lab rewards, but like if they do, that would mean that like you can no longer get lab from like you can no longer get offerings from like Blight or like Ritual, which is kind of cringe because that means you then have to like run in-map trials to get tokens just so that you can have a shot at getting these Transfigured Gems. And like I don't want to do lab trials and I don't want to do lab, so that's kind of messed up. And also they didn't reveal all of these gems yet, so no one really knows like which one is good, which is kind of messed up. I think they should have released all of these. Hopefully somebody leaks it and posts it on PoEDB. And then there's also another concern I have, which is like how obtainable these are in SSF, right? Apparently what you're supposed to do, let me see if I can find a snapshot of this. Yeah, so you basically have to, you have to run lab, and then you do lab and it gives you like 4 randomized options. You can like sacrifice a skill gem for like random Transfigured Gems of like different, I guess, categories. But they did say that it's not like deterministic, like which one you're gonna get. So that's kind of interesting. Like I see a possible scenario where, or a possible outcome where like we're just stuck running lab like for 5 times, 10 times just to get the one we want. Which would also take a lot of offerings to do, which is kind of annoying. But hopefully that's not the case. And hopefully you can either run like the 3rd lab rather than the 4th lab to get your transfigured gems, or hopefully it's like very easy to get the transfigured gem that you want. Otherwise, a lot of the transfigured gems content would be not accessible for SSF players. So hopefully this is SSF friendly. Again, we don't know. We'll have to play it and then find out. Another bad thing is that the meta seems to be the exact same as the meta of the last year, give or take a few. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard other streamers say, it seems like there are no new interesting builds that have entered League Start meta. It's basically the same list, but less. As usual, you know, every league they nerf something and they give nothing back, which is messed up. But it is what it is. I'll also talk about the meta soon. But yeah, the other bad thing is that Leo in research no longer gives socket links. So yeah, they nerfed it. You can no longer randomly roll fusings on like day 2 and get a lucky 6 link. It's now a trap stash, whatever that is. So yeah, Leo in research is now basically worthless, probably, which is a small nerf to SSF fusing progression. Another bad thing is that melee totems are still mandatory, not really specific to this patch, but I was really hoping that they would remove melee totems and like give the damage to all melee skills, but that's not the case. But maybe that's too much to ask for. Another thing that I'm kind of sad about is that like the Atlas tree is basically the same. Oh yeah, I wrote that here. Like, or not the Atlas tree, sorry, the skill tree. So like the skill tree basically had like one change, which is just like regarding accuracy, like specifically against marked enemies, which is basically like nothing. And then only one ascendancy was changed, which is Chieftain. And like all it does is allow your totems to proc explode. So like I feel kind of bummed out that this is the only ascendancy and passive tree changes. I was really hoping for more and like maybe a meta shakeup like in this area of the game. But yeah, it's kind of sad we didn't get that. But I don't know. Hopefully the transfigured gems will be SSF viable and there will be some good ones to make some builds around Copium. Oh yeah, and then the Atlas tree also didn't really get changed very much either. Just like 2 small changes, but nothing major. So for the most part, Atlas strategy and SSF I think will be the same as before. Oh, and then a bunch of uniques got nerfed. I'm actually pretty happy about the Heat Shiver nerf. I think Heat Shiver was kind of a corny item, which allowed like certain builds to just get a ridiculous amount of damage from one item that like scales up the more damage you have, because the more damage you have, the more chill effect and the more freeze chance you get. So it seemed like totally OP for builds that already had high damage, like in Trade League. I'm actually a big fan of this nerf. I think this nerf allows the quality of builds to go up, in my opinion. So I'm a fan of this. And then Ashes no longer gives reservation efficiency, but it still allows you to get like gem quality, which is cool. Oh yeah, another thing that's kind of important to mention is that they removed the vendor quality recipe for skill gems. I don't know how I can search for that. Recipe? Oh, here we go. So yeah, like previously you could vendor a level 20 gem with 1 GCP to get a level 1 20 qual gem. And you can still do this with non-awakened support gems, but you can no longer do this with active skill gems, which is pretty messed up for like any gem that scales off of levels. Because like the new qualities on the gems are really good, right? So like you definitely want quality on your gems now. But then like if you can't flip it, how do you get a 2120 You basically have to spend 20 GCPs every time you drop a Val Orb, which means that you have to spend like 100 to 200 GCPs on average just to get a 2120, which is a bit much. So like from an SSF perspective, I feel like it forces you to choose between like 21-0 or 20-20, which I think is messed up, and that results in an overall like power loss for SSF players, which I think is slightly messed up. Or I guess just like play a skill that does not need gem levels, and then you just roll with like a 20-20. I don't know. I don't know why they removed this recipe. I think that's kind of messed up. Because it doesn't affect trade league players, right? Because they'll always have a 20-20 to buy, or a 21-20. But SSF players now have to choose. So yeah, that's also pretty unfortunate. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about meta, SSF meta. I mean, again, we don't know what the Transfigure gems are, so you know, I can't really say what the meta is going to be right now, but we do have a limited amount of knowledge about like the league start meta. And I just want to go through a couple of items. So this is just basically the top meta builds on PoE Ninja. I just like made a list of them, and then I made some notes. So like Righteous Fire got nerfed pretty hard. Basically the flat damage was removed, and now it deals all of its damage is based on your life pool. And then to compensate for that nerf, you got a small boost to AoE, but then you also lost the burning damage on this. So I actually made a spreadsheet, and this basically calculates the effectiveness of Righteous Fire like compared to your life and compared to the old Righteous Fire with level scaling. So what this basically means is that like if you have say 6,000 life, the new Righteous Fire will always deal 4,200, base damage, which is equivalent to the old Righteous Fire at level 19. So if you have a Righteous Fire build with 6,000 life, it is basically permanently stuck at level 19 power right now, which is pretty messed up. And like getting +1 fire gems on your wand or scepter or amulet will no longer scale the new RF damage. So like that's a pretty big nerf, right? Because like previously it's pretty easy to get like level 23 Righteous Fire, right? Level 23 is like +1 on this weapon, +1 on the amulet, and then like Val to 21. So previously you would easily be able to get like, I don't know, maybe 6,000 life, and then like, this value of damage, 5,700. And now you can only get 4,200. So what's the math on that? That's like equals this divided, wait. So how much, what is the damage loss compared to this and that? That would be the difference divided by this. So that would be this minus this quantity divided by this. So it basically is a 25% damage nerf, 27%. So yeah, the only way to make that damage back is basically to scale your life up to like 8,000. And even then, you only have a level 21 RF of power. You have to get like 10,000 life to get like a level 23 RF, and like 13,000 life if you want to get a level 25. So I would say for like SSF, Righteous Fire, this is almost definitely a nerf. In Trade League, it's maybe okay with like Ivory Tower or some life stacking or like energy shield stacking shenanigans, but from an SSF player's perspective, you lost damage, but you gained a little bit of AoE, I guess. But you lost a good amount of damage. And that makes me not want to play it anymore, because I don't want to lose damage on a build that already can only get 2 to 3 million DPS in like the first week, right? So Yeah. You can still play it, but it'll just be very low damage and kind of messed up and not fun to scale because now you need life. And then there's Boneshatter. Boneshatter got buffed very surprisingly. I have no idea why they buffed Boneshatter. And like didn't touch any other melee because Boneshatter was already the best melee skill. And they buffed it more without buffing any other melee, which is very strange to me. But yeah, they buffed it. Trauma previously did 4% more damage per stack, and now it does 5% more damage if you have maximum qual. So the overall effect of this is like plus 300 to 600k damage. And the way that you calculate this is... let me just pull up like a random Boneshatter build that I played. Boneshatter Jugg. Wait, Boneshatter day 5 progress. Okay. This is a day 5 Boneshatter. I mean, this is Slayer, not Jugg, but it's the same damage scaling. So it turns out that different sources of more damage multiplier are multiplicative with each other. So like, let's say I was at like, I mean, I know that this build can get like 30 stacks of trauma. So like, let's say that I have 32 stacks of trauma. Now my DPS is like 6.1, right? And then if I go from 4% more to 5% more per trauma, that's like a 25% increase in the trauma scaling. So then I would do 32 plus 8, which is 40. And my new damage is 6.9. So like 6.9 versus 6.2, that's like a 700k DPS buff. However, from the point of an SSF player, if you go for a 2020 Boneshatter, you're probably not going to be able to get a 2120 unless you want to spend 200 GCPs, which you probably don't have in SSF. So if you don't use a level 21 Boneshatter, that causes you to lose like 200k damage, right? 173 to 471. Or that's like 300k damage, right? So it's like plus 700k damage from the trauma buff, and then like minus 300k from not being able to get a level 21 Boneshatter, which gives you additional added fizz. So in total, the effect of the Boneshatter change in SSF for Slayer or Jugg is like plus 300 to plus 600k damage depending on your specific build. Which is pretty good, right? That's a pretty good buff. Right? Because Boneshatter deals like 5 to 10 million damage depending on what you have up. It's a pretty good buff. So I'm probably going to be playing this buffed Boneshatter, probably Jugg. And I want to play Jugg because it's good at running lab, right? Like Jugg versus Slayer specifically. Like Slayer is leech based and Jugg is regen based. So like Jugg is a lot better at running lab. And if we're going to run lab to like get the gems that we want, I would rather do it on a Jugg than a Slayer. Also, Jugg is a lot better in ultimatum. You have a lot more armor. You're much more durable against fizz. And then the elemental armor helps you mitigate elemental attack hits. And in ultimatum, you're probably going to get hit a lot by a lot of random shit. So I would much rather be a Jugg in ultimatum than a Slayer. It just seems more tanky. And then not being slowed in ultimatum is also very strong. And yeah. And then in addition, I think, Boneshatter is just good in wisp-land, which is what I call this area. This area, wisp-land, because like you're going to be in close quarters. You're going to get jumped by random enemies. Like here it is like you're in this area, you're walking around, right? And then you can't see shit, and then you get attacked randomly by a monster coming very soon. Oh wow, you just got attacked by like 3 dudes. So like, the monster is gonna hit you before you get to attack them, which means that if I'm a Slayer, then I my life is gonna go down. So I think Jugg Boneshatter is very much better than Slayer Boneshatter for the league mechanic for ultimatum and running lab. And with it being buffed, I will almost certainly be league starting Boneshatter Jugg, which is cool because I want to play Boneshatter again. But it's also like I've also played so much Boneshatter that I don't know. how excited I am to play it again, right? Like I'm not Karn. I can't play Boneshatter for my whole life. I wish there was a meta shakeup, but for now, I guess just Boneshatter Jugg. Then other things with regard to the SSF meta. Detonate Dead was basically not touched. You know, I lost a little bit of cast speed, but whatever. And like, I've never played DD, but it seems really strong. I don't know why they didn't nerf it, which seems weird. Cold Dot basically got obliterated. Vortex no longer has an instant cast. It now has a 0.75 cast time, so it's going to be uncomfortable as heck to play. I don't know why you would play Cold Dot right now. Tornado Shot got buffed actually, but I've always seen Tornado Shot as like, if you can get enough damage on Tornado Shot, like it'll always be like a good build like late league. And like it was already very strong. I don't know why they buffed it even more. Seems highly questionable. But yeah, like I mean if you farm for like a month, you can probably put together a pretty good Tornado Shot build. But like I'm personally not too interested in that playstyle. Like the build is already figured out and all you need to do is just like play a lot. And there's also Lightning Arrow. I actually played Lightning Arrow like a little bit. I did like one Ancestor SSF Lightning Arrow build. It was okay. It's like a pretty good league starter, I think. The scaling is like very strong with the increased shock effect. And it's like a pretty straightforward established build. It's good, it's fast. The only thing I don't like about this build is like it feels very squishy. And I definitely felt like I had to be scared of like any damage that I was going to take. So like I would not be comfortable taking this into like ultimatum personally, but like, you know, should be okay for like a league starter, I guess. Personally, I wouldn't play it, but some people like Lightning Arrow, so you know, it's fine. Toxic Rain, I mean, Toxic Rain wasn't really good anyway. It's just been nerfed way too many times and it never really recovered. Yeah, again, you have the problem in SSF, which is, do you want to go for 21 Toxic Rain or do you want to go for 2020, right? And like if you go for 2020, you're missing out on 10% of your DPS, which is a nerf. If you decide to go 21-0, then you're not getting anything from this quality, which means it's a nerf because then you didn't get the area of effect. So I would say that Toxic Rain got a small nerf, mostly because of the removal of the GCP vendor recipe. Not that Toxic Rain was good anyway, but yeah, probably don't play Toxic Rain, guys. Which is a shame because I really wanted to play Toxic Rain Occultist. But whatever. And then Spark. Apparently this is bad. I actually played a Spark Trickster like last league, I think. I don't remember if it was last league or the one before. It didn't really feel very good in SSF. Like I had a fractured projectile speed wand and I had like insane gear and it still felt really bad and squishy. I'm just not really a fan of Spark, and now it apparently is worse because you lost projectile speed. So yeah, I don't know. Not excited about Spark. And then Frostblades was nerfed indirectly through Heat Shiver. The gem itself did not really change. I mean, +2 projectiles versus proj speed is inconsequential, but the nerf to Heat Shiver is a nerf to Frostblades. And I think Frostblades right now is like only good as a low survivability mapper. So like if you want to do like vanilla T16s, you can do Frostblades like mid-league, but I'm not impressed with the quality of Frostblades builds right now. So I would personally not play this. And then SRS, I have no idea. I have no idea what Summon Raging Spirits does. I never played it. But apparently people have said that this is just a wording change and like not nerfed. But you should probably watch a Summoner content creator for their opinion on that, because I don't know. So yeah, that's basically my overview. Overall, I'm excited. I think the new Ascendancies will be cool. And I think this new wisp-land bullshit is going to be fun. I'm really excited to try out like specifically a Wildwood Primalist with the relics and then also the tinctures. Like I really want to get a really good tincture and like put that on my axe for Boneshatter and like attack enemies and then like recharge my flasks. Like that'll be pretty cool. Um but yeah. The only thing that I don't know for sure is like if you can reuse these things or wait. Yeah, because it says right click to apply and then it goes in your flask slot, right? I would assume that it does not get consumed on use. It also doesn't say that it'll get consumed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't get consumed on use. That would be super cringe if it did get consumed on use. But yeah, I'm excited to see like what tinctures I can get and like slap that shit on my despot axe and just go to town. Hitting enemies with the oily tincture build blade. I don't know. But yeah, it seems cool. The league mechanic seems fun. Ascendancies seem really cool. I was personally hoping for a little bit more of a meta shakeup, but I don't know. Maybe we're still gonna get it once the transfigured gems come out. But yeah, the worst thing in the patch notes for me is that they removed the 20 quality vendor recipe for skill gems. That's super cringe for SSF, but yeah, other than that, seems like a good patch. Seems fun. I will be playing Boneshatter Jugg. Yeah, I just can't think of any other SSF build that you can play where you can get such a level of power at league start and durability as well. And then yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna try to theory craft some more shit, I guess, with the new ascendancies and the new gems, depending on what I get. But yeah, that's my take on the patch. And I think that's the end of the video. Damn, this video is less than an hour. Imagine that. Alright, well, yeah. That's that. I will be streaming the league start if you guys want to hang out while I start the league and level my Boneshatter character. Twitch.tv/smokey_777. I do have next Friday off, so I will be streaming as much as I can Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it's going to be back to the full-time job, unfortunately. Disparage. But yeah, that's my plan. Yeah, hopefully they release some gems that are cool like in the next couple days, and then I can like theory craft some more builds. But yeah, it's basically it. Not much else to talk about. Boneshatter Jugg, same Atlas progression, same build basically, just a little bit more damage. Yeah. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about the league or anything that I said. Yep. All right, I'll see you later.